Sticks and Bricks and Bits of Stone by Skúla Andersson. Contents: Thousands of years of building. 2. Build a wall. 4. Get some mud. 6. More bricks. 8. Timber. 10. Sandstone and granite. 12. Limestone and coral. 14. Marble and mosaic. 16. Going up. 18. Build on water. 20. Add decoration. 22. Building bridges. 24. All shapes and sizes. 26. Where the buildings are. 28. Glossary. 30. Index. 31. Thousands of years of building. People have been making buildings for thousands and thousands of years. Buildings are the biggest man-made things on Earth. The first buildings were made of wooden poles covered with animal skins. When people learned to build with bricks or stone, they had to learn how to move heavy materials. The Romans invented the arch, which added strength to buildings. This meant that buildings could get much bigger. People became very skillful at using all sorts of stuff: wood, reeds, bamboo, leaves, stone, glass, to make and decorate their buildings. Some buildings are simple and beautiful. Some are amazingly grand. The Temple of Angkor Wat in Cambodia is almost 1,000 years old. It is one of the biggest buildings in the world. Build a wall. Many buildings are just walls. People built walls to protect their country from enemies. The biggest wall is known as the Great Wall of China. It was built many hundreds of years ago and is 8,850 kilometers long. There were watchtowers along its length. The Great Wall of Zimbabwe in Africa surrounded a city of about 18,000 people. It was begun nearly 1,000 years ago and took nearly 300 years to complete. In fact, there were two walls, one inside the other, built in a circle. The Romans built Hadrian's Wall in the north of England. It stretches from coast to coast for 117 kilometers. The Romans could keep an eye on people as they came through the wall. Get some mud. Mud is one of the oldest building materials. Mud bricks are made from a mixture of mud, sand, and water. Straw is mixed in to make the bricks stronger. The mud mixture is packed into wooden boxes. Then it is turned out and left in the sun to dry and get hard. The Great Mosque of Djenné in Mali, Africa, is the biggest mud building in the world. Shibam in Yemen is a town of tall mud brick houses. Some of these are 11 stories high. For safety reasons, there are no windows near the ground. Mud brick buildings are covered in a layer of mud to protect them from the weather. The minaret of the Great Mosque at Samarra, Iraq, is over 1,000 years old. You go around and around a spiral ramp to the top. More bricks. As time went on, people used clay or concrete bricks. They are harder than mud bricks and can be used for bigger buildings. Bricks are much smaller than blocks of stone, so it is easier to build unusual shapes with them. St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow, Russia, is built of brick and it has fantastic shaped domes and towers. This is a stupa. It is a shrine built in the shape of a dome. Some stupas are the oldest and biggest brick buildings in the world. The Jetavana Stupa in Sri Lanka contains about 93 million bricks and is 1,700 years old. If bricks are put around a steel framework, they can be built into very high buildings. The Chrysler Building in New York is the tallest brick building in the world. Timber. Wood which has been cut and prepared for building is called timber. Timber has been used to make buildings for thousands of years. It is flexible, strong, and easily carved. St. George's Cathedral in Guyana, South America, is the biggest wooden church in the world. Fire can be a great danger to wooden buildings. Himeji Castle in Japan has been rebuilt many times and has survived earthquakes and bombs. Hedel Church in Norway was built nearly 800 years ago and is made entirely of wood, including the roof. A legend says the church was built in 3 days by a troll, a wicked giant. Sandstone and granite. Sandstone is a soft rock, so it can be cut and carved quite easily. It is made up of grains of sand which were squeezed together millions of years ago. Granite is a very hard rock. It has dark speckles in it and can be lots of different colours: pink, brown, blue, black, and grey. The huge amphitheatre at El Jem, Tunisia, was built out of sandstone by the Romans. Today it is in ruins. 35,000 people could sit down inside to watch gladiator fights. The Palace of the Winds is in Jaipur, India. It is made of pink and red sandstone, and it has 953 windows. The windows of the palace have a lattice design to allow air to flow in and cool the rooms. This is the Tower of Marischal College, Aberdeen, one of the biggest granite buildings in the world. Aberdeen in Scotland is called the Granite City because most of its buildings are made of granite. Limestone and coral. Limestone is made up of the shells and skeletons of sea creatures which fell to the bottom of the oceans. Over millions of years they were squeezed together to make a pale-coloured rock. St. Paul's Cathedral in London is built of limestone from the south coast of England. The Romans built aqueducts to bring water to their cities. Aqueducts carry water over great distances. The aqueduct at Nîmes, France, crosses the River Gard. It is 50 kilometres long and made of limestone blocks. Coral is formed underwater by small sea creatures. These creatures have a hard outer shell, and over millions of years their shells turn into huge masses called reefs. Coral can be cut into blocks to make buildings. Lamu in Kenya, East Africa, has buildings of coral. It is the country's oldest town. Marble and mosaic. Marble is a popular stone for building because it can be polished so that it sparkles in the light. It comes in many colours, including black, pink, green and red, often with swirling patterns. The Taj Mahal at Agra, India, was built of white marble by Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. The walls of the cathedral in Florence, Italy, are decorated with white, green and red marble. A mosaic is made up of tiny bits of marble, stone or glass, pressed into wet concrete. This strange building in Barcelona, Spain, is covered in mosaics. Going up. All through history, people have built amazingly tall and grand buildings. Great skills were needed for this. The Great Pyramid of Giza, Egypt, was built to hold the body of a dead pharaoh, king. It was built from 2 million blocks of stone and was once over 146 meters high. The Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan, Mexico, was built for religious ceremonies. Some of the tallest buildings have such thin and delicate stonework that they look as if they are made of lace or paper. Ulm Minster, Germany, is the tallest church in the world. It is more than 161 meters high. Build on water. Some people don't let water put them off building things. It is possible to build houses on piles. Piles are wooden poles. The city of Venice, Italy, is built on water. Piles were driven into the shallow sea between tiny islands, and houses were built on top. People travel around Venice by boat. Underneath the city of Istanbul, Turkey, there is a huge stone water tank called the Basilica Cistern. The roof is held up by 336 marble columns. The stones of the cistern were stolen from other places, so that explains the head of a giant statue at the foot of a column. Houses can be built on man-made islands. The houses and islands are both made from reeds tied together in large bundles. The Arab al-Ahwa, marsh Arabs of Iraq, live in houses on floating islands called kibasha. Add decoration. People like decorating their buildings with patterns or pictures. Sometimes they just paint the walls of their houses. Sometimes they use mud or plaster to make raised patterns. In Burkina Faso, Africa, they paint chevrons, squares and diamonds on their houses. The roofs of the Grand Palace in Bangkok, Thailand, are covered in shining gold. There are buildings all over the world decorated with carved wood. When iron is heated until it melts, it can be poured into molds. It is called cast iron and can be used to decorate buildings. Building bridges. People have always wanted to move around. Long ago they used simple paths through the countryside. Slowly the paths got bigger and better, and people began to find ways of crossing difficult barriers, like rivers. The Qapak Nan roads were built around 400 years ago. They stretched 30,000 kilometers from one end of South America to the other. Modern road bridges are made of concrete. Steel cables hold up the road platform. The Millau motorway bridge in France is the tallest bridge in the world. Some bridges are made of steel. They are designed in a special way so they don't collapse in the middle. Bridges that cross rivers have to be high enough to let ships go underneath. The Forth rail bridge in Scotland took 7 years to build. All shapes and sizes. Concrete has been used in buildings for thousands of years. Glass windows have been used in buildings for around 800 years. 100 years ago, people learned to use steel, glass, and concrete to build in new and exciting ways. Buildings didn't have to be built in the old ways anymore. They could be any shape. The Sydney Opera House, Australia, looks like the sails of yachts. The curved roofs are covered in over 1 million concrete tiles. The Heydar Aliyev Center in Azerbaijan swirls around like flowing water. People have always tried to outdo each other by building taller and taller. The Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, was the tallest building for 41 years. Today, the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. Finished in 2010, the Burj Khalifa, Dubai, has 163 floors and is 829 meters high. Built in 1889, the Eiffel Tower is the most visited building on Earth. Where the buildings are. Glossary. Amphitheatre. Open-air place for entertainment and sports, used by the Romans. Barriers. Things which stop a person from moving forwards. Cables. Thick, strong wires. Collapse. Fall to pieces. Dome. Part of a building shaped like half a ball. Flexible. Easily made into shapes. Lattice. Open framework made of wood or stone. Minaret. Tower of a mosque. Moulds. Hollow containers used to make a shape. Plaster. Building material which gives walls a smooth surface. Popular. Liked by a lot of people. Protect. Look after and keep safe. Raised. Sticking out from the background. Ruined. Fallen down. Shallow. Water that is not deep. Spiral ramp. Walkway going around and around to the top of a building. Stories. Floors of a building. Watchtowers. Towers used by soldiers to keep watch over an area.